One of the key responsibility of a program manager is to keep track of all the tasks within a program, and this is done by creating a timeline or Gantt chart. Hey, I am Amrit, a project engineer working in a plastic manufacturing company in Canada. In today's video, I'll walk you through the project Gantt chart for a plastic molded part. So let's get started. On my screen, you will see a project timeline, and this is called as the Gantt chart. And I used Microsoft Project to create this. You can use any software. The purpose of this chart is to define all the tasks, their duration, when they're starting, when they're finishing, and which task is related to which project, and to know the dependency of each task. On the right side, you will see the Gantt chart, and on that Gantt chart, you will see the important milestones, which are in the diamonds. At the top, you see the project name, that is Traverse Guide, and under that, there are four sections. One is Traverse Guide, which is the commercial section, and then the other one is design, which is the design input from the customer, and then the tool production, and at the last it's PPAP submission. We'll see the first task. So that is the Traverse Guide, and this deals with the commercial thing, and the subtasks are letter of award. So that is the first document we get from the customer, and with that we also wait for the tooling PO, which is important. Customer always pays us for the tooling to make the tool, and then you see the timing duration, like it's like it takes 1 day to do that, and then the start and finish, and there is no dependency right now. And the second phase is design phase, that is the design input. We get the design 2D print from the customer, that takes just 1 day, and then we also get the 3D CAD data from the customer, and then we move on to the tool production, which is the most time consuming thing. So when we get all the letter of award, the tooling PO, so you see that this task is dependent on the receiving the tooling PO. So until I get the tooling PO, I don't kick off my tool shop to start making the tool design. After I get the tooling PO, so I kick off my tool shop, then the DFM, tool design and mold flow process starts. So the DFM is done by us in-house, tool design is done by our tool shop, which is in China, and mold flow, that is also done by us, and it takes around 3 weeks to do that. And you could see the timeline here. So when we are finished with all these 3 tasks, now it's the time to review the tool design with the customer. So it just take 1 day to review that, and in that review meeting we just show this is the tool design, and we just wait for the customer's approval. So usually that's on the spot in the meeting, or unless there are some few queries, then we just wait for that. But for this task I just take it as 1 day, and you see the milestone here with the diamond on that. After getting the approval, I let the tool shop know to start cutting the steel. That means they order the steel and they start cutting the tool. Then you also see the T1 date, that is the trial 1 run date. That's a milestone. So I need to tell the customer this is the milestone, because they just care about when will be the first run. So after that trial 1, I ask my tool shop to send the parts to me. So it usually takes 3 days from FedEx or any other courier services. And after that, when I receive the parts, I do the dimensional layout for the T1 parts. We usually use CMM machine to do that, or we can also use the 3D scanner. We just bought a new 3D scanner. We are using 3D scanner now. And after doing the dimension layout, we see which dimensions are out, which we need to fix, and then we send that feedback to the tool shop. And then you see here it's the tool modification there. Then the tool shop start the tool modification according to the feedback from the dimensional report. And after finishing that, there is trial 2, that is also performed in China, and that's the another milestone. And after doing the T2, so those parts are again shipped to us through FedEx, and then I do again the dimension layout. I don't do that, but it's my job to give those parts to the quality or the CMM guy. CMM guy scans the part, and then I get the dimensional report, and again I see if there are any modifications required. I send the feedback to the tool shop, and after they're done with the modification, now that all depends. Usually we just do 2 trials. The third trial we don't do that, and after the modification we just ship the tool. Shipping is also the most time consuming thing. You could see that it's 8 weeks now. 6 to 8 weeks is the average time to ship the tool from China to Canada. So when the tool arrives at my production facility, so the first part is to prepare the tool. When we receive the tool has grease and all to avoid any rust. So the tool shop removes that grease and they prepare the tool for the trial. Then you could see there is trial run. That is the first trial, which is at our facility, and that's also milestone. You could see that diamond there. And after running the trial, I need to again repeat the same process. After running the trial 1, I make several shots, from which I use use some shots for the dimension layout, and some I send that for the testing. In this case, usually the testing is the emission testing and the flammability testing, which is required for the in the automotive parts. And after doing the dimension layout, I see if all the dimensions are in or if there is any modification required. Most of the times there are cases that we need some minor tweak on the tool, and then I give that feedback to my tool shop. So my tool shop is capable of doing the tool modification, but we don't build the entire tool here. I just gave like 1 week for the tool correction, and then we run the trial again. Then I again repeat the process of doing the dimensional layout, and then I send the sample parts to the customer with the dimensional report when the dimensions are all good. After this, I schedule the internal run at rate, which is the process sign off. It is a pre-production run where everything is ready for the launch, and then I tell my customer that we did the internal run at rate and we are ready to go for the customer run at rate. And in my case, I am doing the customer run at rate. My customer will be visiting me, and I will be running the tool as the pre-production run, and it's on my customer who will be giving me the approval that we are good to run the production and our documents are up to date and we are matching the cycle time as what we quoted to them. And after that, we prepare for the PPAP. So for the PPAP, we have to prepare the control plan, the process flow diagram, and everything which is required for the PPAP submission. Usually we ask the customer what are your PPAP requirements, and then they tell us their requirement and we prepare the documents. Then we submit the PPAP with the PSW, which is part submission warrant, and then the last step is the PPAP approval, which we get from the customer. And here you see two most important milestone. One is the submitting PPAP and the another one is the start of production. So customer usually care about what is the PPAP submission milestone. That should be before the start of production. So those are the key dates. I hope in this video you got a brief idea about the timeline, how a project engineer manages the timeline, how that is planned, how the timeline is prepared. So to prepare that timeline, you can usually use your existing timeline, or maybe you can ask your vendors what's their timeline to build those tools. Usually we use our previous timelines to get the estimate. Previous timelines help us to define the what are the tasks involved in the similar projects. I hope this video was helpful, and in future I will be creating more videos related to the project management topic, so please stay tuned.